Now we're going to talk about a little bit about Macintosh Essentials. I just want to give you an introduction to Mac system as it stands right now. If you had a PC or your Mac, you might want to take a look and just follow through this really quickly. Just to get at the basic type of a situation, we're looking right now at the desktop. Normally, most of you would actually have something like a Macintosh CD or a Mac, or I'm sorry, not CD, a Mac hard disk over here, an icon for that. I don't have one of those set up on my computer. Maybe you don't have that one set up on your computer. Either way, don't worry if you don't see it. If you need to get to see the actual computer or the hard drive, you can go to Go and then go down here to Computer, and you get a window that gives you an idea of where that computer is right there if you wanted to double click on that. So in lieu of that, we have this desktop. Now on this desktop right now, we're looking at the dock, which is down here. This is the dock. Also, these are some folders that I have placed here because I've copied these off of my external hard drive because I wanted to save those. And then let me show you how to actually plug in an external hard drive. What I've done is I have an external hard drive that I'm now plugging into the computer, and it will shortly appear on the desktop. And while that's appearing, I can, there it is right there. On a volume like this, or this is a hard drive, and we often refer to it as a volume, has special properties in that it is an extra device that's plugging into the computer. And because of that, it has to mount itself onto the desktop that we see right here. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, that means that because of its special properties, we can't just unplug the hard drive right away. So what we have to do on a Mac, we actually have to unmount it. To unmount something, it's really easy. You can bring it down to the desktop, down to the trash can, and notice how the trash can icon turns into an ejection icon, and then we can just push it over that. It doesn't throw it away. All it does is disconnects it. Now I'm going to unplug. I can safely unplug my hard drive, and for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to plug it right back in. In the meantime, while that's mounting up, I want to show you, if I double click on my folders here, you can see into each one of the folders. If I double click on that and then click on the red button, it closes. If I open this and click on the yellow button, it actually minimizes it and puts it into the dock. If I open this up and then I go to the green button, that will actually expand it into, to give it to the full screen for just that folder. If I go up here to the top, you'll notice that the red and the green icons have come back, and I can click back on the green and it goes back to its original position. And again, I can close it or back to where we're at right now. Anytime you see something highlighted, you'll see how it becomes something different on the desktop. That's important. Another thing I wanted to show you was if I highlighted this external hard drive, another way to eject this hard drive would be to use the command keys, Command E. So the Command key plus the E will actually unmount it as well. So I can unplug that and now plug that back in. And while that's coming back on again, let me just go through a couple things. So like the pull-down menus. Here in the pull-down menus, you can see that we're in the Finder. That's this program right here. We go into the Finder. We can create a new Finder window if we wanted to. Close that. We can also create a new folder. You can see here I've got a new folder right here. And the other thing is if I don't want a folder, and I want to delete it or trash it, I just put it in the trash can. You can see now my trash can's full. If I hold my key down long enough, I get this dialog box, and then I can empty the trash, just like that. And it gives me that evil warning, and it says, empty the trash, and so we do that. All right? So that's basically how we do things on the Macintosh. A few other things. This pull-down menu down here where it says Go is a really good way to get around here the different parts of your computer. Like I showed you earlier, I should go to the computer. We can also go to the desktop, which is this desktop right here, and you can see the desktop is actually a folder, even though we see it as a visual icon when we open up the computer. It seems to be our desktop physically on the computer, but you can see that it actually is comprised of all these folders, and you can see these folders here are represented by these folders right there. They're the same folders, but you also notice when we look in the folder of the desktop, we also don't see the external hard drive volume as it exists right there. So those are the kinds of things you might want to consider. Also, very much like what you saw in the, if I go here and I get this little icon, I can actually make this a little larger. If I wanted to go here and make that a little larger, I can do that as well. If I wanted to move things around just the way I look at things, I can actually change this if I wanted to. If I wanted to look at this as by name, I could do it that way. If I want to look at by date modified, I'll look at it that way. And also the same thing with kind and size, those kinds of things. That's one way of looking at something. The other thing too, just to get you familiar with, just like we have on the pull-down menu here, we also have these side places in the computer that you can go to, like say Downloads, to Documents, to Pictures. We have your pictures, where you have your movies, your music, and then these are these profiles in public. I actually added these on afterwards, so you can do things like that. And if you actually are connected to the Creative Cloud, this gives you a place to actually go to the Creative Cloud files. All right, so let's close this and then go up here to the Creative Cloud. You can see here, this is how we actually, if you purchase the Creative Cloud, I have purchased the Creative Suite, so I have all of the programs. But if you're a student or just interested in the photographic things, you'll be purchasing Photoshop and Lightroom, and they will exist kind of as through Adobe with this sort of arrangement on your desktop. I have Lightroom and Photoshop in my desktop. I did that by opening the files and then holding down the keys and going to Options and saying to keep in the dock as opposed to remove it from the dock. So that's how that actually went in there. All right. So I'm hoping this makes sense to you. If you're a PC user, you can just see that the knobs are in a different place. If you're a Mac user, maybe I went to some places that you hadn't seen before. If you have any other questions, you can ask your instructor. All right. Thanks. Bye.